Hey, welcome back, fam, to another episode of I'm Telling You. As always, your host, Mr. Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Yeah, and good sir, because you do this so immaculately now. You're impeccable with this. If you may.
Oh, please reach out to us at I'm Telling You at directionsandmusic.org. That's IMTELLINYOU at directionsandmusic.org. And we'd definitely love to get back to you. We'd love to hear from you. Share some silly stuff. Rip us a new one. Tell us we stink.
Yeah, I've said that a couple times.
Eloquently, of course.
Well, we would prefer it. If you can do it in movie quotes, even better. But yeah, continue the conversation. Tell us we suck. We don't really care. Just open up, share, talk to us, and because that's what we do. So yeah, if you're a first-time listener, this is a 30-year friendship of us just chopping it up, having the one continuous conversation since we were kids. That's just evolved into everything. But with like movie quotes and music quotes and
yeah, just all whatever it is. That's on your mind.
And apparently now we quote each other. So we just quote stuff.
What if CAT actually spelled dog, man?
Yeah, that's Revenge of the Nerds 2 when they're out on the island. That's a good one. That's nice. But or
bump.
And as always, our traditional thing. Yeah, we gotta. You beat me to it.
I did. That's
all
once.
right. I've done that to you before, so it's okay. Yeah, very minty, isn't it?
Minty fresh, yeah. It's like
you're having a mojito seltzer, and I'm having myself a nice little Imperial Pilsner.
It seems like everything can be Imperial now. It seems like I'm seeing that on everything now.
Well, I feel like the term Imperial is kind of like OG. It's the original. It's the way it was supposed to be.
Well, Imperial used to be, it was something that was, I think it was accepted by the crown, or it was accepted by, it was Imperial. It was
it has
up to snuff.
It has the highest standard stamped on it, basically.
Right.
It's almost like empirical data.
But now it's kind of like synonymous with high ABV.
Well,
generally speaking.
I wouldn't,
For a Pilsner, that's, what is it, 7 something?
7.5.
Yeah.
220, 221, whatever it takes.
It's pretty high for a Pilsner. Usually they max out at like 5. Nowadays the rules are all different.
Well, and again, that's I think the Imperial takes it back to like the way it should be, which, in all honesty, back in the day, maybe it did have a crap ton of, I don't know. I'm not a beer historian. I don't know the history of it.
Well, Pilsner originated in the Czech Republic, didn't it? Something like that.
I think Pilsner is at this point German, maybe? I don't know. So I said, I don't really have taco history. Go ahead. You know what I mean? Some hip hop history. I'm all over that. Beer history, I'm still kind of getting into it as I learn more and
because there's a history behind, whether it's an ale or a lager. There's a history behind all of them.
The style, the ingredients.
The styles came from, and sometimes it's interesting to hear that it was serendipity that brought it about, that it was almost accidental in some cases.
Well, yeah, that was the story of the carnitas taco, because it was supposed to be like Lebanese with like lamb and stuff.
There you go.
And now
food example.
But that's what it is. That's why I say, test me on taco knowledge. I'm all over that stuff. I'm a taquero. I make tacos. It's one of my things. I've been making tacos since I've been in the kitchen when I was like 8. So that's a many a decade ago.
Was that the first meal you learned how to cook?
French toast.
French toast.
Yeah, that was the first thing I was ever taught how to make.
Breakfast first.
Well, because it's quick, simple, and easy. But it wasn't French toast. It was banana French toast.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I learned all about how to make French toast as well as that specific style too. So that's one of my oldest style recipes.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah, it was a hand-me-down from Ma. Yeah, Ma taught me that. Ma Dukes. Good lady. Dude, she taught me a lot of good stuff in the kitchen, man. Because we talked about this before where, my parents were just like hustlers. They were working like 2 jobs, going to school, like all sorts of stuff. So I had to like cook and clean and kind of help take care of the household. And, so it was like, I had to learn. Otherwise, I'd be eating like Pop-Tarts and.
Like, you have to put this in at 5 p.m. sharp.
Oh yeah, well, but so we would do the pre-make where like the prep work and stuff. So then it's like, all right, now throw it in the oven at 325 or 400 or 450 or whatever the deal we're making, and yeah, so it was.
Check it in 45 minutes. If it's bubbling, take it out.
Yeah, I was taught to be self-sufficient at a very young age because I kind of had to be. So, what do they call it? The latchkey kids or lock and key kids, or there's a couple of different ways to say it.
Yep.
I mean, there's something to be said for that. You definitely learn independence early on. You learn how to I heard the FITFO, figure it the F out. It's, hey man, here's what you got to do. It's like this is A, and this is where C. This is where you need to go. B is what you figure out in between. So
that's how I'm having trouble with, like trying to figure out is there an acceptable age? Do people even do latchkey entry for children? And I mean, like that was a normal thing growing up, and it seems like everybody's, the environment's different, and it's not as safe out there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to a certain degree that they probably still have some, because I mean, it depends on where you live, perhaps. Because I mean, if you're in the middle of frickin' nowhere and it's like a farm and you're the only kid that's getting dropped off for like the next 2 miles, you're probably pretty good because your dog's sitting at the end of the driveway waiting for you or something, So I mean, in that scenario, maybe, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different climate for kids because.
Well, and then grandma's always in the West Wing, waiting for you, too.
Dude, I hope so. That'd be dope. West Wing. Hell yeah.
Whatever, like the old part of the house. And if you're going like with old farmhouse.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm going with the whole imagery you gave me there. Like maybe, your great Aunt Mabel's already there.
The great Aunt Mabel's.
Maybe she just made a batch of cornbread.
Yeah, right. Or some banana nut bread or. Yeah, right.
I just painted this whole picture. I don't know where this came from.
I think there's a part deep inside of you that longs for this, because we've had this before where you've talked about like living out in the middle of nowhere and getting more.
Like the farm lifestyle, like the simple life.
Well,
I mean,
being
not easy life, but the simple life.
Yeah, being self-sufficient, off the grid almost, whether it's making all your own power or, your own sewage, water, blah, blah, blah. Like it's.
Well, I mean, I think it's important to know, not that I know all that much about, but to know some of the things that you might need to figure out if you didn't have another option, like we were talking about before, like how do you start your own fire if you don't have anything? Like how do you, okay, I have a knife, that's it. And like you can figure a lot of stuff out with a knife. Actually gets you pretty well ahead if you think about it that way versus having nothing.
Yeah, well, I think one of the greater survival tools is I think I've seen this before where it's a knife, but it has a flint stick in its butt so that you can pull it out and so you can have a fire starter, but it's also
like the survival knife, and you can put like the matches in it, the strike anywhere matches, and
no, this was literally a flint rod that would be it's somewhere on its handle, whether inserted into it, you can strike
against the blade.
Yeah, and you pull it out and then you strike the blade against it and it sparks up, so you can you take your. What's your kindling and all that, the dry stuff. I forget. There's
tinder.
Yeah, the tinder. You can take all that. Either because you can use the knife to do shavings, or you can pull the bark off. Dead dried stuff, and so you can do that and get your tinder and stuff going, and then kindling on it, and you can just and spark it up, and boom, you got a fire.
Yeah, one of these times we get together, we got to figure that out though, like the how to start a fire with the stick. Kind of. I have never done that to this day. I just really want to figure out how to do that.
Oh, you mean the spindle set where you have like...
I got plenty of felled wood in my backyard. I'm sure I got something there I could...
Well, so from what... And because I was like a Boy Scout way back in the day for like a year or two, and then I got tired of that crap because I have an authority issue problem. Dude, I don't know, authority figures just...
big surprise, right?
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, like you couldn't tell that crap. But so I definitely, you need to have two different densities of wood, basically, like a hardwood and a softwood, because what you're actually attempting to do is create friction, and friction is heat. And if you can build enough heat, then that in itself with the tinder, like all that like hay or dry stuff, the dry little pieces of this, that, and the other, whether it be like grass or bark or But you can take all that and it starts to build that heat and then just poof.
You know what I heard is one of actually the best things to put in your tinderbox? That really, really fine steel wool. You take like a little piece of that and you spread it out over that area. Like the minute it gets hot, that stuff will ignite really quick. And if you put your tinder on top of that, just your little like tiny little bits, they're really dry.
Steel wool?
Yeah, like the real fine steel wool. Like the stuff that it doesn't scratch you. It feels almost like cottony. Like that stuff actually goes up pretty quick.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it could. I don't, the science would support that in my mind, but I never would have.
You never seen that?
Well, I mean, just as far as a energy transference, even though we're talking about thermal energy, it's still energy. For energy transference, conductivity, I could see that absorbing and releasing a decent amount of heat, and that because I mean, it's steel, it's metal, so I guess it.
Well, and I think by the nature of the way that it's really is like a wool, the way, but it's very fine. Like the one I'm talking about is, it's really, It's not the one that scratches up it makes your nails feel all weird after you're working with it for a while. It's just like the really soft stuff.
Well, yeah, because I mean, all right. So in thinking about this, what triggered in me is so when I used to have automotive shops, we would do brake jobs, and what we do is called cut the rotors, which is you're literally shaving the surface area to make it parallel again back to the hub, so that when you put new brake pads and everything's all square and flush again. Well, the stuff that the rotors are made out of has iron sulfate in it. And when you shave it off, you machine it, you get these really fine particles. You can take this pixie dust of like particle stuff and, pinch it and hold it above a lighter and then like sprinkle it down and it makes sparkles. Because that's some of the stuff
Sparkles.
Well, but that's some of the stuff that they put into fireworks is iron sulfate because it'll ignite at that low heat level. So
more like sparklers or something.
Yeah, I guess, or
phosphorus and iron sulfate or something.
There's all sorts of stuff, and depending on the combinations, changes the colors and the control burn of it and all that. I mean, there's science behind all that, but
science.
Yeah, but in thinking about that, just iron sulfate in that capacity. So steel wool probably, especially on that fine of a level, might be a very rudimentary level because I mean steel has iron and a bunch of other stuff in it. It's a composite basically.
See, I never took chemistry. I kind of missed out on some of that stuff. But I never took chemistry, so like I always liked the idea of like learning that stuff in the classroom. Like my brother used to tell me stuff. My brother used to tell me stuff about certain elements that I wouldn't think of as. I mean, I guess I would think of as more inert than they are, but that. The way that they react violently to air or water. Like, what is it? Is it straight up sodium? Was that one of them? I'm trying to remember that we had like something that has a violent reaction with water or just with open air. Like that it boils instantaneously or it catches fire. I mean, there's a couple elements like that they're pretty normal run-of-the-mill elements, but they react very wildly to certain environments.
Yeah, nothing's coming to mind.
Obviously, I never took chemistry because I can't remember any of the names of them.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, that's you saying that. I wouldn't say that that's a direct indicator. There's plenty of people that have gone to these classes and learned this knowledge, and they don't retain any of it because it wasn't presented in a manner that made it, want to be like we were talking about with synesthesia and stuff. There wasn't a vivid enough memory tied to it that it makes your brain want to recall it easily.
The teacher just was not interesting enough for.
Well, yeah, it's like when you get the PowerPoint guy that just reads the, verbatim bullet point after bullet. You're like, dude, I can read, bro. I don't,
Just reading down like what's already on the screen there in front of everyone. Like, yeah, dude, no, I don't.
Yeah, to me,
don't do that.
If you're doing a presentation, a PowerPoint should be a prop. It should be an add-on. It should be an additional thing that adds to. Like it adds to. Like, it's.
Yeah, I want you to tell a story. I don't want you to sit here and read the screen that I can clearly see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always, if I did have to use them.
That's where you're like.
If I did have to use them, I would do like 1 to 3 word key phrases. And I would use that as like basically as my cue cards to trigger me talking about it. So I didn't have to look at the PowerPoint. I could just quick glance, see what it was, and it was just a reminder of like, okay, this order, this progression, and keep moving. So this way, when I'm speaking about it, what you're reading, if you want to have that long-winded expression, cool, you can listen. If you can just like read the PowerPoint real quick, realize that, hey, boom, okay, these 3 points, these 5 points, whatever, and then still listen, it helps to keep them engaged and entertained. So I always use it as like a proper and add-on because, yeah, it should be adding to what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's got to bring a little something.
Yeah, don't just, you put the whole thing together and now you're just going to read it. Don't be that guy.
And 3/5 of the, yeah, no, dude, bro, stop.
You're going to wear the shirt of the band you're going to see. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Yeah, he's getting me back for the milk bone incident. The what? Yeah, we were coming back from Jamaica, and he put a whole bunch of milk bones in my suitcase of the drug dogs. Yeah, that was the first movie I saw Jeremy Piven in. Actually, I think that was like the first big David Spade movie too, because he was the nerdy preppy kid.
Dude, you threw 50 pounds of raw meat on a vegetarian.
No, it was way more than 50. No, 100. It was 100 pounds. Threw 100 pounds on a bunch of innocent protesters.
Like, no.
No. It was way more than 100 pounds. Something like that. Yeah, that's a good movie too, man.
PCU. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it was tonight at the pit. Everyone gets laid. That was the name of the band. Everyone gets laid. It's like, dude, that's great. Put up the flyers and put them out, and they go out into town, and he goes to like hammer the first one in, and the hippie chick, whatever, I forget what her name is, stops him. Is just like, don't you hear the tree screaming? And then they just have like stacks of them. They just like toss them in the air, and it's like, all right, whatever. Like they just gave up. It was so lame.
And that was the whole, that the PCU was like the school was like all these different groups, like, and everybody had their own.
To me, it was like an updated version of Animal House.
Yeah, he was running his, he was selling papers, wasn't he? He was selling written papers.
Oh, yeah, Jeremy Piven as like a 6 or 10 year senior or something. Yeah, that was like one of his.
He's been typecast as like a hustler. You know what I mean? Like fast talking.
Because he's a fast talker. He's one of those cats like Vince Vaughn and all those where they can do these long-winded.
Vince Vaughn, man. Hilarious.
Yeah, they can do these long-winded, quick-witted, large word monologues, and just like they keep pumping them out, and it's just you're just mesmerized because you're like, he's still going. I don't get it. Yeah, he does that pretty well.
Because guys like that, like you have to keep hitting pause because you're like 6 jokes behind. They're just going so fast that.
Yeah, it's like us when we start quoting stuff, and then all of a sudden you pick up what we are on. It's like, dude, that was 3 movies ago. You got to get to the now.
Yeah, sometimes I'll listen back and I'm like, dude, how many different references? I don't even know. Because they're so stacked on each other sometimes. Like you were saying.
We've gone from a movie to music back to another movie. Like it's just, yeah.
Hey, boss, big butts.
To me, it's the family circle when the one kid like goes from this spot to the other spot, which is like a room away, but he has to go through every room in the house and around the outside of the house just to get to that spot.
Oh, and they show the whole progression of
the dotted line.
Everybody he interrupts and
is stepping over the dog, messing with the mailman, getting Ma in the kitchen, all that stuff. Yeah, that's our conversation.
That's where your mind went right there.
Well, I think that's a great visual representation of how our conversations usually go. Because we're over here talking about David Attenborough, and then we're gonna go over here and talk about animals. But
David bloody Attenborough.
But in order for us to get from that to the animals, we have to like talk about Wu-Tang Clan. And
would you say we're 2 blind men going in a circle, occasionally bumping into each other, going in opposite circles?
Yeah, the blind leading the blind, pretty much. Hey, we make no promises.
No promises whatsoever.
No, we are fancy wind-up monkeys here for your entertainment. Yeah, that's it, dude. Just give us a wind and let us go. That's what we do. Especially when we start drinking beer, then you're really in trouble.
Or mojito. Yeah,
I always say you say mojito, I say no hito.
Which I'm getting adjusted to now, but I do have to admit, the first gulp was like drinking mouthwash. It was just like really sharp, but then you kind of get used to it, and
it's like drinking Crest. Yeah, it's a heavy mint.
Like if you need a drink of water right after you brush your teeth.
Yeah,
That's what it
I make like mixed drinks and stuff with it, and like specialty ice cream treats and things. Yeah, I've done a couple different cooks with it because I mean mint is nice in moderation with the right stuff. So, you know,
You add a shot to it sometimes. Pour it in a glass and add a shot.
more of I mean, I've made like dessert drinks because I was trying to I'm a chef. It's one of the things I do.
Trying to craft something of your own from it.
Well, one of the things that I do is I sell beer for a local company, and I was trying to find a way to market this, like give us an additional output because the market for seltzers is pretty crazy right now. And one of the ways I was like thinking about it's like, well, dude, what if we cook with it? I mean, it's just like beer, right? It's an alcohol. It's like, so all right, cool, let's do that. So I just started trying to come up with like a whole bunch of different recipes. So desserts, entrees, appetizers, sauces, like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I play around with stuff, I mean, it's one of my things. I'm into.
could be good to saute or something, right? I mean, throw a little mojito seltzer in there.
I did a round roast with watermelon and mojito. Yeah. So because then you're getting that mint and the watermelon, which is almost like a watermelon salad with like a little feta and stuff. So you can start to get a little saltier components to it, and so yeah, it's I did a round roast that way. Yeah, it was
creative.
Yeah, a little bit on the saltier side, just because again it played well with the mint and the watermelon.
Interesting, and it turned out well, I guess.
Yeah, it turned out really well.
Well received.
It was really juicy. I mean, it was just very tender. It fell apart. It had a nice, I don't want to say like bite to it because, I mean, tang. Tang, I think would be the more correct word because there was that sweet sour kind of thing.
Tang, remember Tang?
No, I always had Sunny D.
I remember Tang.
Yeah, the astronaut drink.
Astronaut drink. It was basically Kool-Aid.
No, isn't that what Tang was done for? Tang was invented for the astronauts. That was the.
So they say it was something. It was like a dehydrated or freeze dried juice drink.
Yeah,
Wouldn't even call it like juice. It was just a juice drink.
Yeah, what they got juice cocktail.
I found out later on, like military guys, like in the Navy and stuff, like they would actually use that, like they'd actually thin it out just a little bit with water to make it into a paste, and it was like a kick-ass cleaner.
Yeah, because it was like a cutting agent. It had enough, like ascorbic acid or something, probably
citric acid or whatever is in it,
something.
that it was strong enough, something about it that it was acidic enough that it would actually clean stuff really well.
Yeah,
and it was abrasive, slightly abrasive.
And you're drinking it.
Good stuff there.
Well, yeah, because you get the particle because you don't completely break it down. You get a exfoliator out of it. That it's almost like a compound agent.
Right.
Yeah, that real fine sandpaper basically is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting like 1,000 grit, 1,500 grit. That's some good. That's a good ratio. But yeah, that's you're drinking it.
Something you drink. Yeah, that was what struck me. I was like, you clean what with that? And he's like, oh, like really greasy spots, like underneath, like an I-beams on like structures and stuff, like underneath the underside of like inside a boat where like the engine is, oil's kind of all over the place. Yeah, it'll take all that off. And you're drinking that.
No, I'm not.
Like tar, oil, gunk, grime, dirt. Just eats it right off.
Well, and again, I mean, that goes, so we were just talking about, that goes back to the chemistry of things because there's different components that mix with others that do and don't. So when you get into the oils, you got to have like alcohol and stuff. Those are the things that mix that way. It helps them to be, soluble. So having the right chemical compounds, I guess, at that point creates whether or not it can lift it. Because that's the thing is if you use a detergent with water, it'll separate the oil because it wants to mix with the oil, so it'll help to pull it from the water or breaks the density, so then it separates. Like science.
Science.
Yeah.
It's all science.
It lifts things. on a microscopic level, but then it makes it have a barrier between it, and then you can just remove it from that.
I'm seeing like a scrubbing bubbles ad or something in my head right now, or OxyClean, or where the bubble actually picks up the dirt and carries it away. And
Like, I'm going to take care of this for you, madam. Oh, thank you, Charles.
like Mary Poppins just flies off into the sky.
Yeah, right.
Where's it going? The dirt's just disappearing.
Oh, it's
This is. What are we talking about? I don't
well, again, this is that family circus conversation I told you about.
Where are we going?
Yeah, I don't know where we started, but I do know we're going to finish it
And
somewhere.
now they're talking about detergents in a British accent. I really don't understand.
Yeah, Serge. It's Serge. It's like when you say Serge, it sounds like a dishwasher, or was
I can't even.
sounds like a laundry detergent.
I can't even try to mimic his voice.
Yeah, it's Serge. It's Serge. Yeah, it's not Serge. It's Serge.
I just love that. Aquel.
Aquel, Mr. Axel Foley is here to see her. Yeah, he tells him to like button up his shirt. It's not sexy. Yeah, no, we're talking about
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, with
And
Bronson.
he was in both of them.
No, he was in 1 and 3.
1 and 3. Okay,
Yeah,
that was the big when he saw him again. Yeah.
Well, correct, because at this point now he's not just working at the art dealer. He's now his own independent man, and he's got like partners, and they're making urban defense weapons and stuff. There's the
completely over the top.
The Eliminator 2000 that has a microwave, a CD player. It has its own recorder, video playback, machine gun.
What does that make me think of? What commercials? What freaking movie was that? Like, was it Total Recall or something that had those really weird? Or no, RoboCop had the really weird commercials.
They did.
Wasn't that like what was the suntan lotion? It was like something 5,000, sunblock 5,000, and then you put it on like 1/8 of an inch thick over your whole body just so you can go outside.
I don't know. That's
or the alarm system that like shocks the heck out of whoever tries to steal your car.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, maybe. Oh, you know what? Was that Kentucky Fried Chicken?
What?
You don't know? Or Kentucky Fried Movie? It's from like 1977 or something. Was it? Give me a year. You got a fact checker, please.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
This is why we need a fact checker. This is why we need a third party who is unbiased, who does not hang out in the green room, keeps us like corralled.
Well, whatever. I'm just somebody with access to a computer that can use it while we're sitting here. Yeah.
Being wind-up monkeys.
But whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, we've already tangented, so I don't know where we were at or where we were going, but we're now on weird commercials for a movie that we don't know whether or not it exists or if it's just like some fragment in your mind that you've made up.
Right.
It's possible.
Okay.
See, that's
I don't know.
That's why I don't want a license. That's why I don't want to drive.
Very tangented.
Yeah, that's Repo Man for those of you who are trying to figure that one out. Yeah, I'll give you that one, people. You're welcome. Sometimes you have to. Yeah. They're very obscure. We watch weird stuff, man.
It's weird, wacky stuff.
Yeah, which you owe me a road date. We've talked about this. We got to watch Grandma's Boy again. Yeah, because you've I've only seen that.
What was the other one we got to find a copy of though? Like I want to find a good copy of. What were we talking about?
Don't think too hard.
The one with all the midgets in it.
The Wizard of Oz?
No. The one we were talking about though.
With what are you? I don't.
Why can't I think of the darn name of it now?
I don't know. This sounds like a really weird fantasy you have.
What?
And I don't know if I want to be a part of that.
What?
Exactly.
No, Time Bandits. That's what it was.
With all the.
Gotta find a copy of that. I don't even know. Time Band. That's what I was talking about. With all the midgets.
That's how.
Wizard of Oz.
That's how you're gonna do. That is what. There's a category for that where you express what the movie is in the most unsuccinct manner that has nothing to do with it whatsoever.
And is that inappropriate and totally PC?
On PC, I think so.
Totally on PC. Yeah. Sorry. Vertically challenged. I don't even know anymore.
What,
everything I say is offensive nowadays.
I can believe that. But I believe the classifications go back to physical height because then it's there's a difference between
dwarfism and
well, yeah, there's like little person dwarfism. I mean, I think it's you know what I mean like
a midget is in proportion.
Well, yeah, and
So it's just smaller, but in same proportions. Where a dwarfism is a different. The proportions are slightly different.
well, as well as I think a genetic component. So yeah, I think when you get into the classification, it's strictly done from the scientific or logical expression, which why I think like some of them are like
I never know what the appropriate thing is, and I'm sorry anybody out there if you're a short person. I
don't think anybody's short. You're fun sized. That's what I like.
I really like that.
Well, you do good things come in small packages.
You know, every time I see somebody getting down on themselves for being short, I'm like, look, short people live longer. I'm like, it's a fact of nature.
I don't know. Well, dude, I don't like being tall sometimes because I whack my head on stuff.
I can't tell you how many times. I was just gonna say, I can't tell you how many times I whack my head on shit.
Dude, there's only so many cars that I can technically fit into.
And you know what? Short people love laughing at me when I do that.
Yeah.
I just let them laugh. Enjoy yourself, really. That really hurts right now, but I'm glad somebody's getting some enjoyment out of it because I sure am not.
Dude, I also have a hard time finding shoes. Like, dude, getting the right size and the right manufacturer because they change shoe sizes sometimes. So it's like, dude, I don't either that or my feet are getting bigger. It's crazy. Yeah, I have to keep going up shoe sizes. I'm like wearing 14s and 15s now. It's like I used to only wear 13s, and it's like, what the heck? Do my feet get bigger or do the manufacturers just messing with me?
Is that like the thing Mom used to say? Like, she wouldn't let me not wear shoes all summer because she was afraid my feet were going to get too big.
Because they weren't like boxed in.
Like I'm gonna get hobbit feet because
you're like a fish in a really large pond. It just has so much room to move around. They just get larger and larger.
Because I know when I was a kid, like I would spend a whole summer without shoes. I didn't need shoes. What do I need shoes for? You know, most of the time I was just running around outside. I mean, maybe if I'm on a bike or something, but if I'm just like hanging out, I don't need shoes. What do I need shoes for? Listen to this guy's shoes.
Yeah, I know. Oh, aren't we special? I can afford shoes. Yeah, great. I used to have to walk, uphill in the snow to school both ways, and I didn't have shoes or knees or anything.
It was just something about being a kid and growing up like, just don't. What do I need shoes for?
Drinking from a water hose, not wearing shoes.
Hell yeah,
climbing trees.
I would not drink from a water hose anymore.
Eating mud pies.
You put up with all kinds of drinking from a water hose, man.
I mean, I would here because I got well water and I test it all the time, man. My water is dope.
No, it's just the idea of drinking from a hose at all. Just that.
Oh, what is that? Is that too good for you?
It just tastes like garden hose.
What are you better than me?
What are you doing? What are you doing good?
Dude, garden hose water is very.
You talking to me?
I mean, sometimes.
Because I don't see anybody else here. You must be talking to me.
The way you're talking about my guy here is all wrong.
Do it again.
I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I heard your mother sews. Yeah? Have us sew this. Yeah, dude, I love me some walking. I think all that was Joe Dirt, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's like in the hallway talking in the fire extinguisher, the glass or whatever, so he can he's talking to himself. That's pretty funny. I love me some walking.
Oh, that's right. Wait, the janitor.
Yeah, he was a janitor because he was in the witness protection program.
You say talking to yourself in the reflection from the fire extinguisher. I'm thinking
Breakfast Club. Haga naga.
How can I not be thinking about it? Yeah, checks himself out in the.
Well, yeah, because that's when he falls through the ceiling. Or no, that's when they're running through the hallways or whatever, and he hears Bender start yelling. Then he starts running after him.
Oh, yeah. I want to be an airborne ranger.
Yeah, living the life, sex and danger. Yeah. Then he's in the gymnasium. 3, 2, 1. And he throws it. And then, he's like, don't you want to hear my excuse? I'm thinking about trying out for a scholarship. Yeah, I love that.
I love how he hops right out of the shoe, too.
Yeah, right. And he's only got the one shoe on. So he's got his one sneaker and then his one basketball sneaker. He's like half in it. It's hilarious. Yeah, there's all those cute little quirks of that movie that is just hilarious.
Oh, man.
Dude, I mean, when he falls through the ceiling and he comes down, they're all just looking at him. He's like, what? I forgot my pencil. It's like, what? That's such a weird non sequitur.
I was trying to think of that quote the other day. What was it where he was busting the chops of the well, he was actually busting chops of, was it Andrew Johnson or whatever? What was his name?
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
He was busting his chops when he said, Brian here is thinking about entering the custodial arts.
No, I think he's interested in joining the custodial. Yeah.
I told you I was trying to think of the quote. I couldn't think of it perfect, but
yeah, it's Brian Ralph Johnson.
Brian Ralph Johnson.
Yeah, because she steals his ID and she says Ralph as in puke. So that's how
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Brian Ralph Johnson. Yeah, did your mother marry Mr. Rogers? No,
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson.
It's like, PB&J with the crust cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have all the 4 food groups represented here. Yeah, that's when he asked her, "Did you marry Mr. Rogers?" No, he's just so literal, just right over his head. Almost like he had like Asperger's or something and just didn't get it.
And then the jock opens his lunch and it's like
4 lunches.
it's like 2 or 3 sandwiches, like a whole like liter of milk or
yeah, it was
half gallon or something.
Yeah, I want to say it was a half gallon. It was like an orange, an apple, a banana, 3 sandwiches, an actual bag of chips, not like a single serving bag of chips, like an actual family size bag of chips. Yeah, because then he goes to like put the bag down. He's like, "Oh wait, there's still more in there." And he that's when he starts pulling the fruit out, and it's just like, what the? Yeah, because he has to eat because he's on the wrestling team, so he needs this energy.
And then what was it? The best one was the olive loaf.
Oh, that
turned
Ali
into
Sheedy throws up on the statue.
That turned into the, what was it? Captain Crunch and Pixie Sticks.
Yeah, with mayo, I think. Oh, gross.
Followed up by Pepsi, right?
And she used the Pixie Stick straws as a straw.
Ah.
Yeah, paper and yeah, I don't know. It's
It's these little things that they put into a movie that just stick with. I don't know why they just stick with you.
Well, and that's the stuff that
it's like iconic. Like a lot of the things that happened in that movie were.
And that I think that's the attention to detail that guys like John Hughes or Kevin Smith or Tarantino or like, all those people that really put all of the finite, the nuances, the little itty bitty things, that little bit of detail or quirkiness makes it more honest, I feel.
Well, there's so much about it that about a lot of his movies that it was the relatable. Like it was something that was very relatable to anybody. That was one reason why growing up with a movie like Breakfast Club, like it's kind of sad that to some extent, like I don't feel like there'll ever be something like that for future generations. If you can't go back and appreciate, there's certain movies like that, I think kind of shaped us growing up to some extent.
I mean, well, and I think that goes back to we were talking about being like a latchkey kid and stuff. Because, MTV raised us, HBO raised us, cable TV raised us because we didn't have tablets. We didn't have the internet.
It was that or go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, computers started entering like, I don't know, it was much later. I mean, we had to have regular jobs by then.
I wouldn't say it was computers so much when it came in as it was the internet. Internet made the computers a little bit more accessible, I feel, because then it started being produced on they were starting to be produced on a level where it was becoming more of a household common product. It was like the TV was just, the prices started coming down and made it more approachable for everybody.
Yeah, I remember when we first got a computer, it was so weird, so different from what you think a computer is today. And we actually had an old Zenith, which was actually a decommissioned wargaming machine, believe it or not, for the U.S. government. And the only reason that they could do that with a machine like that is because there was no internal memory back then. So everything went through a disk drive. And it was the weirdest thing because you would boot the thing up and you'd have to boot up the OS through the disk drive and let that run. And then you'd have to put in, if you had like a Word document you needed to write up, you had to put in the disk for Word, boot that up, And then when you finished writing your project, then you had to put it in another disk to copy it to. But that's what you were used to back then. Like nowadays, that's all done with a click, and it's just like different drives within your internal memory.
Dude, I remember when you could hear the drives like
Spinning
actually,
up.
oh, dude, running, clicking, everything. You can hear all that stuff popping and.
Or like a modem.
Dude, no, I remember my big thing that I remember is when the hard disk and floppy disk went to double sided. It's like
Double-sided, double density.
I can flip it over now. It's like, yeah, you just got like double the memory, which was nothing. But
Actually, we used to punch them on the other side because you could kind of cheat, and you could use one that wasn't intended to be double-sided. By punching the other side, there was a punch out.
oh, well, because yeah, it had you had that little pop in the corner or whatever, that little square thing.
Right, that was where the actual reader went. But
Yeah,
if
'cause
you
you
were
could
crafty,
lock it.
you could punch it out with like a regular hole punch.
Yeah, you could like lock it out or let it do it. So
Well, if you wanted to make it not rewritable, you would just put a piece of tape over that corner.
yeah, dude, yeah, no, I remember
Those are
all that
like the
stuff.
old school tricks. Somebody write in because that's awesome stuff. That's way back in the day, playing Commodore 64.
And I was gonna say ColecoVision.
Commodore 64 was awesome though because like you could play games from any platform if you could get your hands on them because it was one of those platforms early on that video game pirateers were going out there and they were getting this new software and they would just rewrite tiny little bits of it so that they could get through copyright laws or whatever and then just re-release it really quick. So you'd get copies of games that were like 98% exactly the same.
See, I was never really that kind of a gamer. Mine was more of the cabinets, like the actual. Because I mean, I go to the roller rink and instead of skating, because
The actual stand-up units.
yeah, because I had the rental skates that sucked. The big freaking orange wheels where like they either rolled too well or not enough, and you had like no ankle support because the laces didn't go all the way up, and has that like big orange stopper on the front.
Why is it like every time I go to I get a pair of skates rented. I just remember this when I was a kid. Like I'd always have like the left skate would be dead straight, and the right skate would just want to go right. And then you'd take them back up, and you'd be like, "Can you give me a different pair in the same size?" And they come back, they give them to you, and you're like all excited. You're putting them back on your feet. You get back out on there, the right foot starts going out again. You're like, "Did you even swap these at all?"
Did you ever think that maybe your foot's crooked? I'm just saying.
It's not crooked.
How do you know? Did you check?
Those are crappy skates, man. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, but so anyways, because I'm used to getting those kind of crappy skates, yeah, skating on those things sucked. I mean, walking on the carpet sucked, but the one thing you could do was play video games and still, stand there because the wheels didn't really move too well, so they held you up at least.
Or play the claw machine.
I
Get into the claw machine.
Dude, I would do, Galaga and Galaxia, Centipede.
There you go.
Yeah, dude, I used to do, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man. I mean, I was one of those cats. Just sitting there trying to figure out patterns and
It's so funny. I'm hearing all the as you're naming all those games, I'm hearing all the electronic sounds. I can't even repeat. I'm actually hearing them all all at the same time in my head.
Yeah.
It's ingrained. We grew up with that stuff.
Oh, dude, as soon as I hear the Donkey Kong,
Atari, Nintendo,
the Donkey Kong theme music, because there's a great movie called King of, oh God, what is it? King of Quarters or something like that? Or King of Kong?
King of Kong.
Yeah, because there's a gaming society that does basically like all the Guinness records for all video games, and they actually have to watch the footage and verify, and it's this whole society, and there's a controversial component where there was two guys going after the new Kong record that hadn't been toppled since like the 80s or something, and it was like two guys in their late 30s, early 40s or something, going back and forth, battling out for the highest score for Donkey Kong.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's documented.
Original Donkey Kong.
Yeah, but
Nice.
being played in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was King of Kong, I think is what it's called. Really great documentary. It's pretty cool because they go through a bunch of this stuff and how it all works, and you really get a look into it. So
That stuff's like an antique now, if you can find it. Like the old original Atari. We're saying like 2,500, what were all the different iterations? But
oh god, I forget. Yeah, because there was like a 2700
it was a 26. Well, whatever.
Or the 2600, and there was like the 52. I don't know, because it was like the amount of memory or
Like I don't know. I just put the cartridge in and hit start.
No, I only had the original Atari because I had to do like chores and extra work and just to I bought my own. I mean, my parents taught me how to hustle, so I'm like 9 and 10 years old, like working my butt off to get Atari games and stuff. And I mean, I finally bought like Nintendo.
What was your favorite old school Atari game?
Frogger.
Frogger, really?
Yeah, Frogger.
Nice.
It was the patterns because you could run the patterns. So that one in like Tank, because Tank had the same thing. There was patterns in it, so you could like have bouncing bullets, so you could like shoot it in the right spot and it would like run through. So
right.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I get it. Patterns are my thing. I like math. It's cool.
I don't know what system. It was on one of the Atari systems. I don't remember what system it got really popular in, but Pitfall was always.
I loved Pitfall.
Pitfall was the shit back in the day.
Yeah, to me
and to look at that now, like I'm sure if I brought it out now, I'd be like, I can't believe I was so enthralled with this. But
every time I hear Dead Prez, bigger than hip hop, the bass line reminds me of Pitfall.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so because you get that wobble in it where it's like, and that's like when you're going over the pit on the
it
vine
made that
or
little,
whatever. Yeah. So I always thought
it was supposed to be like the Tarzan noise or something.
I don't know.
But it was electronic. Yeah.
To me, I feel like they sampled Pitfall and just like turned that into a track.
Sure, why not?
Very like Wu-Tang of them, which I was just that's what I want to think because I feel like that's pretty dope. So yeah, every time I hear it's bigger than hip hop, I just think of Pitfall too.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. I'll see if I think the same thing when I listen to it.
You will now. You can't unhear it. It won't go away.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like every time you grabbed onto one of those vines to swing, it would make that. What was it like? 4 to 5 note sound every time.
Yeah, because I think like Tarzan.
It sounded like Tarzan,
where he was like doing his yell like, but it was like on a bass line, so it's like, but it was like that weird wobble back and forth.
I'm not even going to try and do that, but that was pretty close.
I don't know. It's, make the music with your mouth. I don't know. I got no shame in my game because I'll just make the noises.
All right.
My mouth already makes enough noises as is, so it's all right. Might as well make a few more. You can't control this thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've tried. Trust me, it don't work. Just gotta let it be, baby.
It's gonna do what it do.
Do what it do, baby.
So,
what, you just like hit the wall or something?
No,
like I'm tired now. The mojito is hitting you.
No, not at all. I mean, I kept trying to bring up that other thing earlier, but
what was that?
Oh, I remember we were talking about sacred geometry, and you're like, still talking about that? I'm like, I never really talked about it.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the green room.
Yeah, we were sort of.
You kept trying to bring it up.
I kept trying to, but
no, we did discuss it because we started talking about the flower of life, or the flower and how you could use it to depict, tree of life, all that kind of stuff. You could find ways
that all the Platonic solids actually came from that. Like if you look at that as if it's not a 2-dimensional, but look at it as if it's a 3-dimensional, like you can see objects basically coming out of it. Like there's so many tie-ins from. That's what I was saying. So this is all based on, everybody listen, this is all based on a video suggestion that I sent Chef Philly D today. But he's had a busy day and he had to take a nap instead of checking out the video because it was like an hour and 43 minutes long. So
hour and 47.
47, all right.
And I think like
that 5 minutes was just going to kill you.
In like 12 seconds or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, dude, I did not have 2 hours to sit and listen or watch or.
But when you get a chance, definitely check it out.
I'll think about it.
There's some interesting content in there.
Dude, right now, all I want to do is golf. I want to golf.
All I want to do is room a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom.
No, I want to golf.
Okay, you want to golf?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, that's my thing. Like, dude, golf. I golf for a living. Everything else I do supports me to be able to golf. Yeah, dude. As I'm telling you, man. If I went back to my neighborhood and told them that, dude, I'd be in the street getting beat so bad right now.
Don't worry about it.
Like, you sell out piece of what? Like, dude, why don't you buy a Cadillac and get some chrome on it like everybody else? But like, oh, I don't want.
When you say I do it for a living, it's because like you're saying like I do it because it makes me feel alive, or
yeah. But see, so
it's different than I do it and I make money doing it.
There's a difference between earning it as your income and doing it as your living. Because that's the thing is like, so we've had this before where it's like, hey, what do you do for a living? Well, I golf, I'm a dad, and I do on-air stuff. Because that's the stuff that, community member, those are the things that help me be a part of what I'm doing. It helps me feel responsible and a part of my community and my neighborhood. That has nothing to do with whether or not I make money.
When we were talking about it before, like the differences between some other countries and the United States, how we view that question.
Yeah, where you say, what do you do for a living?
What do you do for a living? And it's like, well, I'm an insurance adjuster. Or,
in America, typical response is how you make your money.
Right.
Whereas in most other countries, it's what you actually do to be a good person or enjoy your life. It's
they'll
what
be
you
telling
do to
you.
live.
Well, raise my family on a farm. We got this, we got that, but they're not telling you about how they make money. They're just telling you about how they live their life.
Yeah, because nobody cares about how you make money.
No, it's boring. We don't really want to hear about that.
Because we all have to make money, right? We all have to be able to pay for stuff.
What's your passion, man? That's what I want to know about.
Yeah.
Right, and that's more I think the answer to the question is a little different when you go to another country. There's one thing you pointed out to me anyway that. Yeah,
and that's why that's when my statement is I golf for a living. So anything I can do to golf more, have the energy for, I don't care. Golf is not cheap. I make it as cheap as possible, though. But yeah, it's I golf for a living. Yeah,
I live to golf. I golf to live.
Yeah, no, I have a severe golf problem, but only for myself. Because here's the thing: is like I don't watch it. I don't want to watch it. I don't really give a crap about that. Like I want to play and practice and get better at it.
Right.
That's going back to that conversation like when I was like when we used to shoot pool and stuff. We're challenging the better players to get better. In golf, I have to challenge myself. So it's a complete one-on-one for myself. So it's me always challenging me. And
golf is one of those sports activities, whatever, that it is a little different that you're always playing against yourself.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily concerned about winning against another person because you're always playing against how good you were yesterday or the day before. You're always looking for improvement.
Yeah, which isn't always represented in the outcome of the score.
Right.
Sometimes it's just, hey, I had this shot, a couple of times before and I didn't do well with it. And now I've had it like 2 or 3 times and I've done really well with it. I've progressed. My overall score may not have changed. It might have gone up, might have gone down, but my level of confidence and experience has grown. And plus, for a lot of those who know me externally, outside of just being who I am, they think I'm very much extroverted. And it's like, nah, dude, I like isolation on a heavy level. So golf to me is a great way of doing that because I'm just out in nature chilling and there's just not much going on. Especially me because I get out real early. Because, I want to get my rounds in quick. I don't want to play for 4 or 5 hours. I want to play for an hour and a half or 2 and get my stuff done and, practice and all that. And there's, like, nobody out when I'm doing it. So it's real quiet. There's not a lot of people. I just keep to myself, walk the course, enjoy nature and just play against myself. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's a very zen thing for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess it doesn't hurt, it's exercise. I mean, you're out there, you're moving around, you're in the morning sun, probably getting plenty of vitamin D.
Well,
that's good. That's like free vitamins there.
Well, yeah, my bigger thing is, so walking it is healthy because I'm getting, a couple miles in basically on top of the level of focus and staying present that I've found by walking because I have that time to think about it as I'm approaching my shots and going through everything, I find that I have a greater sense of focus. I have a greater sense of involvement or staying present in the game. I feel as though I play better.
Do you find as though the activity of golfing, whether you consider it a good day or a bad day, whatever, that just the activity of your practice is almost like a mantra? That it can kind of set off your entire week in a different direction, like a walking meditation sort of.
I will say that it always gives me a sense of grounding additionally to other things that I do, because, I meditate and a few other things to allow for that as well. But this is very much an intentional grounding on top of, because while I'm very much in my head or of the heavens because I'm thinking about stuff, I'm also walking the earth and being very grounded. I'm being very attached to that. So there's more of a balance because I can be in my head, but still present and a part of this earth simultaneously. So doing that in and of itself to me is very much, a continuation of trying to find that balance. So yeah, I would say it keeps me grounded and present, which means that it in and of itself with everything else allows me to always be involved and a part of. So it gives me that ability to rationalize, work through, be a part of. So no matter what, my weeks are always going to be filled with like joy and passion because I have ways to, rationalize, work through, be a part of, stay present, uplift myself. So I don't get stuck on one thing because all of those things support what I do.
Right.
If that makes sense.
So it's more than just an outlet, really.
Yeah. Well, it's, yeah. As always, we finally get into like a really solid conversation and then, it's time to go because that's.
Well, all good things must come to an end.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. But at least,
I'm going on the assumption that this is quote unquote good, but.
It is good. Literal.
It's good.
Well, see, but that's the thing, dude. Well and good, man. We are doing good because we're putting beneficial behavior out there. So, speaking of, if you want to continue the conversation about this, reach out to us at I'm Tellin You at directionsofmusic.org. That's IMTELLINYOU at directionsofmusic.org. Send me Philly D or, Mr. Gemini here.
Gemini, if you want to find me on Facebook.
Reach out to us, talk to us, do that whole thing. But, no matter what, come back for another episode of I'm Telling You. And while you're doing that, be good to yourself and be good to everyone else.
Much love.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.